Cocksucker? Oh, that cunty cocksucker Booker.
Next comic, give it loud everybody for Anthony Eugenio. We're gonna have the next comic. Very funny. Wayne Russell, everybody.
Welcome to the Open Mic Pain with Anthony and Wayne podcast.
What is going on, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Open Mic Pain with Anthony and Wayne. My name is Wayne, and I am here with Anthony Eugenio, my co-host. How are you today?
I'm doing good, Wayne. How are you?
I'm doing well. We are here, and today we're going to talk about we're kind of getting like a temperature. We're getting a feel for the room tonight on from where we started till now, and we're just going to have a general conversation about how we feel we've done, what we feel we can do better, just wherever, whatever threads we want to pull.
Yeah, maybe we'll call it like a perspective podcast, because when we first started doing comedy, we really had no idea what we were getting into at all. We could have been like on the Tonight Show by now, as far as our dreams had put us, but instead we do sometimes places with one person in them that don't laugh at us. But still, we're doing it. So tonight we wanted to check in, see what we've gotten better at, what we still want to get better at, and what are the next steps in potentially our comedy career. So let's start with you, Wayne. What would you say is the number one thing that you've improved on since your first mic?
I would say 100% my stage presence. We've talked about my waltz before. So I would stand on stage and I would do this like two-step waltz all around the stage, and I've learned to kind of plant myself a little more. I've had a few sets where I've actually walked around, which was nice. I felt like a recovering stroke victim taking my first steps up there. But yeah, generally, I feel like I'm much more comfortable on the stage. And for me, that was huge. I think I mentioned that to you many times before in the first few sets, where I didn't feel comfortable standing up there. I felt comfortable speaking and doing my jokes and all that, but I didn't feel comfortable in my physical presence on the stage.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. We talked about how your microphone hand would go from the top and how it's getting lower and lower every set, the more and more comfortable you get with it.
It's going back up.
Go back up? Oh, the more comfortable you get.
It's going back up. I got to tell you, I like it. I don't know. I like it up here,
Yeah. No, I think I told you my one criticism that I had. Not criticism, but the one, it's so hard to say. Like, thing I've noticed about your set is that you wear a hat most of the time you do it. And you hold the mic, like you said, it's getting higher and higher. So if you hold the mic here and the hat ends here, the crowd only has right there to see you.
I'm going for the Wilson.
Yeah, definitely.
Hey, nobody needs to see this. The fact that you have a camera on me and people can see this is shocking, because I am not a picture person. I'm not photogenic. So,
but you're a salesman, and if a salesman came in wearing a burqa, you'd be like, "Hey, I like Donald Trump."
That depends on what they're selling. In my industry, probably, but that really depends on what I'm selling. So,
yeah, that is true. Okay.
So what about you? What do you think you've improved on over the last? We were just talking about this. I think it's been 4 months now where we've been doing this, which is fucking amazing, by the way.
I know.
We've talked about how I was going to do a one and done, and to think that I've been doing this for 4 months now is pretty crazy. But
and which means about 16 mics or something like that. It's got to be somewhere in that ballpark. Which isn't a ton.
Yeah, we're somewhere around there.
But that's a lot for us.
No, it's not a lot. That's a lot for us.
Yeah.
It's 15 more than one.
Exactly. 15 more than fucking one. So I think my first strong point was stage presence a little bit, just because of the small amount of music background I had. So I was always able to hold the mic and walk around well and all that kind of stuff. But two things. Cadence. It was way too fast before. And also natural speak, meaning I can come off as rehearsed sometimes because I write everything down so intricately. Intricately meaning just
Yeah.
specifically, I should say. And I think now I'm getting a little bit better at telling it to you like it's the first time I've told the story, and that's really what my goal is. Tell it like the first time you, like if you're at work and you're on the water cooler and you're trying like this shit happened to me yesterday. Like I want that kind of enthusiasm in the jokes, and I think I'm getting a lot better at that. But mainly, I think just my joke writing has gotten better. I've gotten a lot more intricate on how I weave things through. I try to misdirect a lot more, and I think you said that your first couple jokes were just a single punchline at the end of them, and you'd have 4 jokes and 4 punchlines, and I felt the same way. I think a lot of my first bits were long setups to an eventual punchline, which is okay, but we've really learned how to fill that dead air.
Yeah. I talked about this with Justin in our conversation, where he had said to me, or he sent me a text that said, tell the story, don't explain the story. And that is something I feel like I've gotten much better at as well. And that's some really good advice. You can over explain things to the point where people aren't invested in your story and don't give a fuck about the punchline.
That is true. They gotta want to fucking hear the goddamn thing. So it is pretty exciting to get 4 months in, because your goals change rapidly. Like I would say our first goal was to not diarrhea our pants on stage so often. And our poops are firm now. So now our goals must rise. So what would you say, Wayne, for the next 4 months? So what are we going to check in on with you for what you want to do for a goal?
I had this conversation with Mr. Jacques Lambert not too long ago.
Oh, Jacques Lambert.
Where he asked me what my goals are. Or he asked me what our goals were, and I couldn't speak for you, and I wasn't playing middleman there, but I spoke for myself. Where, like I said, this was going to be a one and done, and I didn't have much expectation. After the first night, it was, I want to do more open mics. It was fun. At this point, I haven't said this out loud, but I'm working on jokes that I'm comfortable enough with, where if I get approached or if I get the opportunity to do a booked show or a fundraiser or something like that, where somebody needs a comic to pop in and do 5, 7, 10 minutes or something like that, then I'll be able to do it.
Yeah, that does seem like the next step in our journey is going to be getting not off of the open mics, but pivoting from doing exclusively open mics to trying to get in some, weekend booked shows where there are people there who want to see comedy. Because
that's going to
that'd be nice.
Yeah, that's going to be the true testament, because some of our jokes are definitely, I think, could be more comic oriented, especially mine being a little on the dirtier side. It may not have that public appeal for a local show or whatever. Maybe it would. Maybe they would. I don't know. But
that's what we need.
That would be the true testament to. Yeah, that would be the true testament, to go in front of an audience and actually do some of these jokes and see what the general public thinks. And we've had a little bit of that. Sometimes Clemento's, there was a decent amount of non-comics there, and other places as well, but it's a really small fraction of the people that are not comics.
Yeah, it's quite a, whatever the comic version of a sausage fest is what happens at a lot of these open mics. But that's okay, because we like the cock, and we comic cock. You know what I mean? Something that is a gay that leads to a not gay metaphor somewhere in there. But take it as you want to take it. Everybody knows me by now.
So, would you agree with that, or do you have other goals in the next? We'll call it 4 months for now. I mean, who knows? We might do another one of these in 4, 6, 10 months, whatever. I don't know, but
sure. Yeah. Well,
let's call it 4 months. Is that your goal in the next 4 months? Is that similar?
It's similar. I do want to, and I think this is going to go hand in hand. I'd like to do a 10-minute set, calibrated and well oiled, where I go, all right, this is really, like, at this point now, I'm really comfortable with 5 minutes, where I got a lot of iterations of 5-minute sets that I think I'm like, okay, I know how roughly this will go, and it's cadence is good and it flows well. I'd really like a 10-minute version of that because I think that's going to be your, I'm not call it minimum, but I think minimum expected if you're going to be opening for, have a opening middle headliner. You should at least be able to do 10 solid minutes. So I think that's a good goal to have in the next 6 months.
I I gotta say, we talked about that where we didn't think it would be possible to do a 5-minute set. That was interesting. But the other night, however long ago it was, at one Broadway collaborative, it was 7 minutes, and I felt really good. It was I did a bunch of smaller jokes, and I did a longer joke, and it just felt more attainable.
Yeah, I am excited for that feeling because when you watch, like I just watched Mark Norman's new special, so maybe we'll talk about that someday soon.
We definitely will.
We definitely will. So when I
100%.
when I watch that and I see him do an hour, I can't fathom it. I can't fathom doing 11 of the sets that I do. So we just said it. We're up to, we do roughly one a week, and we're up to 4 months. That's 16 mics. Imagine doing all of that, 3/4 of that comedy in one setting in one night that we've done the whole time. It's a crazy thought to be on that much stage time at once.
It is, and not just to do the jokes, but to have them be to the level of somebody like a Mark Norman, which will probably never happen. But to even attempt that is a daunting task. But
yeah, I like Mark because just like why I like Mitch Hedberg short jokes that are jokey. They're not. So many people are storytellers now. It's nice to have a nice joke guy out there.
I haven't watched the entire Mark Norman thing. I did catch about 15 to 20 minutes of the beginning, and it felt very clubby to me. It felt, and it's not this isn't a negative, but it feels like something that I could hear at the safe.
Yeah, no.
You know what I mean?
No,
Like it's just a little rough around the edges.
Sure.
It's not like Tom Segura's I'm super famous type of jokes or whatever.
Well, spoiler alert, I liked it
I-
better.
I-
Than that one. But we'll get a deep dive into that.
Ooh,
How's that for a tease?
I might watch that tonight. I might finish watching that tonight then.
Yeah, I mean, it's just my style. I've said it a million times on here. That's just the type of comedy that I enjoy watching. So yeah, we're gonna try to get as good as Mark Norman in 4 months is what we're trying to say here. But no, we're just want to. It might not even be good to say that if in 4 months from now we're doing what we're doing at this point, which is honing new jokes and testing it in the places that we test it, I'd still be really happy. I'm willing to open mic for as long as it takes. Speaking of Mark Norman, he's one that said like he pretty much exclusively open mic for like, I don't know. I don't want to say the wrong number, but it was like over 3 years, 4 years, something like that. He was a really long exclusive open micer. So, that could pay dividends. It feels like we're in the minor leagues and you got to get your work in.
Oh, 100%. You have to put the time in. You got to do it. One thing I was thinking about, I was driving around today, and at 4 months, do you remember the first, well, it wasn't the first comic you met, but the first comic I met at Strange Brew when we were waiting in the hall. Do you remember who that was?
Yeah.
Oh, I'll say it. It was Fredo Cruz.
Yeah.
Yeah. And at that point, I think he had been doing comedy for 8 months, rather. And then I saw him go up on stage, and I was like, that is not an 8-month comic. Like, I feel like he was like a multiple year. Like, his stage presence, his jokes were wicked funny. They were tight. They were really good. And I was like, how is that possible? And I'm not going to like toot our horn or whatever, but we're getting closer to that. You know what I mean? So looking back at it, I'm like, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's the main point there.
And he's somebody that does
is that it's just
he's somebody that does a lot more.
Sorry.
Who's going?
I
Just- go ahead.
was trying to finish your point, which is that it makes sense time wise. The law in your phone. You want to talk about who's talking right now? How about who's talking on that phone? God damn, how many times is that motherfucker gonna go off?
Listen, I got people who love me. All right.
Put it on vibrate then, so they can vibrate love you.
Yeah, you won't even hear that. Just so you know, people are gonna think you're crazy.
I'm gonna edit all this shit out.
I am.
Put dicks right here. I don't remember what we were saying. What a mess.
We were talking about Fredo and we're getting closer to that where it didn't seem like that was legit that he had only been doing comedy for 8 months, but we're getting there.
Oh yeah. So what I was trying to justly say is that it's time. The thing we have to trust is time. Meaning, when we see somebody that we're like, oh shit, that person's really good. I can't even fathom that. Well, give yourself the same amount of time, and you'll at least see the perspective of how they got there. You might still suck, and that's on you. But at least you can, understand how the cake is made.
Yeah, definitely. I see it with other people too. Ones that we've spoken to. I'm not going to sit here and just name names, but as we met people and have seen them perform, and then now finding out that they're not that much more tenured than we are, it's very impressive how some of these people are. But I'm like, okay, yeah, that just makes it seem more attainable, and it seems like the steps that we're taking, only doing one a week or whatever, I feel like we're in a pretty good spot.
Yeah, well, we're having a good time. I guess that's all that fucking matters, doesn't it?
That is. This is like our softball. This is our night out a week.
Exactly. This is what keeps us sane. God damn it. As sane
Sure
as
is.
we can possibly be, at least.
So, on the flip side of the first question, after 4 months, what is something that has not really improved that you're really working to improve? If anything. Is there anything that you can think of now you're like, man, I wish I would be a little further along than that? Or maybe it's something new that you're like, shit, I didn't realize this, but
Yeah, no,
I need to work on this.
that is a very good question. I think that I need to get a nice single premise set, 5 minutes long. I feel like a lot of my jokes are the same time frame, and I've wanted to experiment with time throughout this, and I feel that's the one thing that I didn't get to. Like, I had a goal that I wanted to switch microphones in my hand when I walked, and it makes sense and it feel natural, and me be as comfortable with the microphone in my left hand as I am in my right hand, which I, eventually now I'm just getting to that point, so that was exciting. But the actual structure to go, okay, keep them interested for 5 straight minutes on one topic, I don't have those chops yet, so that's definitely something I need to work on.
Yeah, that's interesting. Because mine's kind of the opposite, which I started trying to work on. I'm not saying I don't have a ton of 5-minute bits, but I was doing Dick Talk for so long.
Yeah.
I got super comfortable with that, and I tried to make Richard the Gay Ghost a 5-minute set as well, which it wasn't necessary. That's not a necessary thing.
Yeah, we had a great conversation at the time about that. Because you were doing Dick Talk for a long time, and I noticed your next joke happened to also be perfectly 5 minutes, and I'm like, I don't know. It's like, that's the thing I'm trying to get myself out of, is cookie cuttering. Oh, this way worked one time. Now I'm going to go to that way every time, and it's important to let the joke kind of manifest itself, if you will.
I gotta say, the one thing I like about the shorter jokes. So I did the 7 or 8 jokes at the safe, and then the next week I did like 3 or 4 of those, and then I did Dick Talk again because I missed it. The thing I like about the shorter jokes is it's like it's over. So if it doesn't hit, you get the next one. It's like somebody throwing pitches to you,
Yeah, it's true.
So strike.
It's true.
Strike, hit. and I like that. Yeah, I like you're not locked into something. If people aren't having the I'm sucking dick joke, you're not sitting there doing it for 5 minutes with people staring at you like, I would never suck a dick. You would.
You would.
You would.
You would.
But
if you heard
you're gonna
Wayne
pretend like you wouldn't.
explain why he would, you would. Like, I was staunchly
You definitely would.
well, no amount of, never. And then now, after 100 times of hearing Wayne's proposal on it, feeling a little dicky. I don't know. I don't know about you.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, Jacques
definitely
definitely thinks we're a couple. You told me that. So, I think in the end, when your comedy buddy says one fucking C word called us once, your comedy buddy, sometimes people are going to think that you hold hands. And maybe we do.
C word? C word?
Cunt.
You mean cocksucker?
No, cunt.
Oh.
Cunt.
Oh, that cunty cocksucker Booker?
Yeah, it's
Is that who you're referring to?
cunty cocksucker Booker McGeezy. Said comedy buddies. Oh, you're comedy buddies. Like, yeah, that's what we are. Euphemism for butt buddies, I think. Remember that? That was a great phrase back in the day. Don't say that now. You're not allowed, world. But
You're not allowed to. But that was a good use of, was it onomatopoeia?
yeah. Or alliteration.
It's one of those two.
One of those two. Look at us.
It's definitely one of those two. One is, I believe, one is like butt buddies where you have the same sound. The other one, I believe, is the
first
the
letter.
pronunciation of yeah, so it's the first letter.
Yep.
The other one is like the sounds of objects or animals that aren't actually words, like woof or ba or
What's
whatever.
really lucky about our generation is we got to grow up being able to say all that crazy shit that we used to say, and just we got it out of our system. We were allowed to say, and it was cool, and it was on South Park, and it was great. And then now you can't say any of that shit. Like, if you're a kid and you say that, they'll pull it up when you're 45 years old running for president, and they'll be like, "You remember when you were 12 and you were on TikTok and you talked about juggling balls in your mouth? You can't be president now."
Nobody's pulling it up for Biden. He said a lot of crazy shit back in the 80s.
Oh, they pull that shit up all the time on him. He's
Yeah, but nobody cares.
yeah, I know, that's true. But as we will discuss again in the future very soon, no one cares about aliens either, and we now know that they are fucking here. So people don't care about anything.
And people got murdered about them.
They sure did.
They sure
And
did.
they should have. Let's be honest. Shut the fuck up.
Should they?
Yeah. Yeah. Shut the fuck up. If you're working for the government on UFOs and they say shut the fuck up, guess what you got to do? Shut the fuck up.
Well,
I don't want them to. I want to
I'm
know.
glad.
I'm glad that they didn't.
I'm glad certain people, like David Grush, didn't shut the fuck up.
He's such an American hero, and he wears a Garmin watch. And one of my friends, Matt, shout out Matt, has a Garmin watch. And when he said, I want a digital watch, I was thinking the Timexes and all those. Why not get one of those bad boys? But Garmin is the choice of American freedom now, as far as I'm concerned, because Dave Grush has one. So,
Oh yeah, and he's slinging it. I'll tell you that.
hammer.
I think we're getting off topic.
Don't get me started on UFOs. But
Listen,
I think we're there.
I'll talk about Dave Grush's bell clapper any day. I don't care, but this is not the episode for it.
Well, let's finish up this episode so we can go on to the next episode, which we'll probably be doing that. And anything else to say? All right, Wayne, if you're going to, this is a time capsule. Watch this 4 months from now. What do you want to tell yourself?
That's a good question. I wasn't ready for. I'm hoping, like I said, in 4 months from now, I'm hoping that we're at least in the running for some sort of, having good enough material to at least be on some booked shows with some of the people that we see all the time. In terms of myself personally, I would definitely like to see my writing improve. You know, like I think I'm getting there, but I'm hoping that in 4 months from now, when I go back through my Google Drive, I can just start deleting some shit because I'm already starting to do it. Not deleting, but I move it. I move it away because I'm like, that's not a good idea. But I'm hoping that in 4 months that'll be a little more apparent to me that certain things just don't work.
Nice. Well, that's good. Now for me. Hi, future Anthony. I hope you're doing good. I hope you remembered to clean the sink after you shave and make the bed when you got up and to stop shitting your pants because it's October roughly, and that's when you shit your pants a couple times because you stop eating terrible food. And for some reason it has a reverse effect. It makes you ruin all your underwear. And at this point, you're hopefully doing a nice mic in St. Lamass because it's October. I don't even know it's going to be October. I don't even know 4 months from now. I'm just guessing October. And
November.
Oh.
It'll actually probably be December.
Oh, well, hey, they will be off of sober October. So we'll...
Yeah, it's August, so that'll be December.
Yeah. Yeah, all right. Yeah. Well, I'm going to be high at this point.
Yay math.
Yeah, yay math. Well, anyways, Christmas. Hello, Santa. No, like you said, I want to just do a mic that's not an open mic. So we're going to hopefully check in and keep our aspirations low so that we can double up high on it.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. So
yeah, I like
this
it.
is our check-in. Gluttonous for us, but we're documenting from the first joke we tell to the last joke we tell. So you're going to hear it all. And whether or not we end up giving hand jobs behind an old CVS as our way of making money, or whether or not we end up selling out the Phoenix Arena, one of those two things, we're going to Celebrity Arena in Phoenix. Beautiful Tom Segura Sledgehammer special. Go check it out. We will be there, or hand jobs, one of the two. So we will see you soon on another episode to the quest for laughs.
I'll talk about Dave Grusher's bell clapper any day.